Welcome to Wellsprings of Faith. My name is Father Liias. I am a Roman Catholic priest. I am a senior priest on the staff of St. Patrick's Church, which is in Stoneham, the neighboring community to Melrose, where we tape this show at Melrose Mass TV studios. I'm a resident of Melrose, where I've lived for 33 years, and our program has been going for almost 30 years itself here. The program is a program about faith, the journey of faith in a person's life and the fruit of that faith in their lives and in the life of the world. Today, I welcome a new friend, Father Joseph Akilo. He is a Roman Catholic priest like me. He's from Nigeria, and he's studying here in the United States. He's just finished a degree in licensing in moral theology at Boston College and is continuing on towards a doctorate there, and also serving in some of the parishes in the Archdiocese here. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the studio, but even more welcome to America. How long have you been here now?
I've been here for 2 years.
2 years, and but you're from Nigeria. Well, this show is about you, so tell us your life story and your journey of faith and how you came to know the Lord and how you came to be a priest.
Okay. Thank you, first of all, for inviting me. Of course, the journey of faith is something mysterious. It's not something that can be explained. Yeah, but I'll try to make an explanation. First of all, I would say I was lucky to be born into a Catholic family. My both parents were Catholic, and I was also baptized as an infant, and went to catechism around 11 years, and also got confirmed.
What age did they confirm in Nigeria?
Yes, I was confirmed in my 13th year.
13, okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So actually, I would say it has been like a smooth journey of faith, going to the church with my parents and coming. But I think my closeness with the church came more when I started attending a block rosary. Back home in Nigeria, we have something we call the block rosary.
A block rosary?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. It is
Well,
about.
what is that?
Yes, it is about little kids.
Yeah.
We have grown-ups. Usually, we gather, maybe according to streets, maybe one or two streets combined. Exactly. So we gather in the evening, 5:30 in the evening, and we say the rosary, and say some of the Fatima prayers. Yeah, and after which we receive spiritual talks from the elders.
Ah.
Yeah. So usually from there we learn most of the prayers.
Yeah.
We usually begin attending the block rosary even before we receive First Holy Communion.
Really?
Yeah.
So this is just kind of a neighborhood
Exactly.
spiritual formation.
Like a small Christian community
wonderful.
made to build the children.
Block rosaries.
Exactly.
We should try that here in America.
That would be great.
We need help. Well, of course, from all I've heard, the Nigerian church is very vital and growing.
Yes.
Is it one of the largest national churches in the world, Catholic churches now?
Yes, even though I don't have figures,
Yeah.
but I can comfortably say it is one of the largest.
Yes, right.
Yes,
right,
yes.
right.
Nigeria is actually growing, and growing also.
As you know, I think you know, I was an Anglican priest before
Yes, you
I
told
became.
me.
So I know there's a fairly large Anglican community in
Yeah.
Nigeria as
Yeah.
well. Over the years, I've met some Anglican priests and even bishops from Nigeria.
Okay.
So really, that's a wonderful. So from the time you were a little boy, you're out at these block rosaries.
Exactly, yes.
And praying, obviously, the rosary.
Yes.
And that's such a wonderful thing. It's an easy thing for children to learn, you know.
Yes.
But then even more, you were being formed and shaped and taught by the elders, as you say.
Yes, exactly.
These were
yeah.
just lay people who were very committed men and women.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes we have also adult sponsors
Yeah.
who come from time to time to speak to us,
Yeah.
encourage us, you know. Yeah.
Wow.
It's really wonderful. Then from there, most of us move into becoming altar servers.
Oh, that,
Yeah, as we grow up, we become, but you can only be an altar server when you have received your first Holy Communion.
after you.
Yeah, so
What
after
age did they do communion? About 8?
from 8 years.
Yeah,
Yes.
8 years old. So you received first Holy Communion, and then you began to serve.
Yeah, even though after receiving Holy Communion, I didn't begin to serve immediately.
Yeah,
Yeah, I continued with my education, and sometimes I will attend the block rosary, but wasn't often.
yeah.
Yeah, until later years in my high school.
Ah,
Yeah, so later years in my high school, that was actually when I joined the altar service.
I see.
Yeah.
And that was very formative for you doing this. Did most of the young men do that, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
In my country, young men, even married men, serve at the altar. Yeah.
Do girls serve or just men?
Yeah, the girls do.
They can serve too
Yes.
as well. Yeah. But, and so you started serving Mass. For those who are not Catholic, we have a lot of people who aren't necessarily Catholic who watch the show.
Mm-hmm.
You know that that's a wonderful. I know when I was a boy, even the Anglican Church, I was a little boy. I was a server, and that had a deep influence on me. And when did you begin to feel a call towards the priesthood?
Okay, so during my final year in the high school, so the vocation came. It came like a pressure. It was really much on
Oh,
me.
really?
Yeah, the feeling began. But prior to that, my dream actually was to be a pilot.
A pilot.
Yes. You know, so I was actually studying towards that, dreaming also towards that, making inquiries on how
Yeah.
to get myself into a good school of aviation. Then, towards my final year in the high school, it came, you know, in a very, very mysterious way that I can't even explain. And I began to feel not the desire to become a priest. And the pressure was much that I had to begin to seek for a desert experience to be able to think through and
Yeah.
discern properly. So I reached out to a priest who I happened to know at the time, who stays in a very, very rural area out of the town, 2 hours drive from the town.
Wow.
I reached out to him, and he said, okay, that I could come and stay with him for some months, and we see what God has to say.
Huh.
Yeah, so after my final exams, so I took my things and went to live with him. I stayed with him for some months.
Wow.
In a very, very remote area. I call that a desert experience.
Yeah.
Because of the experiences I had there. First of all, he told me that I am here now, that I should try to do the things they do, go teach catechism, morning mass, live my normal life, then observe how things are being done. Then if at the end of the day I feel it is something I can do, then that he thinks God is calling me.
Oh.
That there wouldn't be a situation where I will pray and wait for my dream when I'll hear the word, my son, go and become a priest.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a thing like that. So I said, okay. And it was really a desert experience.
Yeah.
I'll give you 2 examples. First of all, in that particular village, they had the green snakes as a sacred animal. Yeah, they saw them as their ancestors. And these green snakes were poisonous
Wow.
too, and they never killed them. You don't dare to touch a green snake. So there were many of them, they were so rampant, crawling around the whole village.
Wow.
So I was staying in the boys' quarters, and of course, the comfort room was outside where I was staying.
Right.
And I was very, very afraid of snakes. I was a young boy coming from the town.
Yeah.
And in that town, there was no electricity. So it was
So
During the
going
day,
to the comfort station meant walking in the dark, in the
exactly,
middle of the night.
exactly. In the night, we use candle and
Yeah.
lantern, kerosene lanterns. We didn't even have a generator at the time.
Wow.
So you could imagine how afraid I would be, especially in the night, going out in the dark because I was afraid that perhaps the snakes may bite me. There was this experience one particular morning. I was trying to sweep through my room and I saw a black cellophane bag on the edge of the wall, and trying to sweep it off, a green snake popped its head off. I was so afraid because I just realized perhaps I slept the whole night with the snake in the room. And for one reason, it didn't bite me. God didn't allow it to harm me. You know, another occasion, another example, armed robbers came to the rectory on a particular day and got all of us, including the priests, all of us outside. We lay on the floor. Of course, they took every valuable thing they could lay their hands on.
Wow.
And at one time, they took the priest out, and the voice I heard was, "Kill the priest." But for one reason or the other, God saved his life. Eventually, he was returned. They didn't kill him. So each time I asked myself, what am I doing here? The life wasn't so easy for me at the time.
Yeah.
But something in me kept pushing me to continue. You know, so after some months, he called me and said, "You've had your experiences, what do you think?" And I said to him, well, from the experiences I have, I think it is a life I can live. I love the desert experience. I love it here. And he said, okay. So with that, I began to make applications for the seminary, and the seminary journey with all the challenges. Sometimes you might feel you want to leave the seminary, but on another time, God will keep sustaining you until today I'm a priest, and 13 years a priest.
Been through now 13 years. So how old were you when you were ordained?
I was ordained at 31.
31, okay,
Yes.
okay, wonderful. Wonderful. So the green snake did not scare you out of the way?
It didn't.
Wow.
God didn't allow it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And so you were ordained, what you say, 13 years ago?
13 years ago.
And so what's the life like of an African priest, a Nigerian priest?
It's actually in Africa, especially in Nigeria, I will thank God first of all because we have vocation boom, and we have genuine vocations.
Yes.
Yeah, and
no shortage of priests like
no
here.
shortage of priests. Many are called.
Yeah.
Many still wants to join the seminary, wants to become priests, but of course, everybody wouldn't have the opportunity because there are scrutinies that keeps going on. So I think the life of the priest in Nigeria is a beautiful one because the people are deeply religious, notwithstanding the challenges in the country, both economic and everything. The people are religious. They love God. They love things of God. You put programs, you find them there.
Yeah.
You put retreats, they are there. You put rosary processions across the streets, they are there. We have church activities like Christ the King procession with the Blessed Sacrament, they are there. And during the Easter, during the weekly Stations of the Cross, you find them in numbers.
Oh, wow.
So the priest is never alone. Yeah, he is busy doing all works and with hospital visitations and consultations, and they have many masses, especially on Sundays. Most parishes, we have up to 6 masses.
Wow.
Yeah, on a Sunday, and the first mass usually begins so early as 5:30 in the morning. Yeah, so it's a wonderful experience to serve the people and also see their spiritual lives grow, especially when you watch them closely and break the word of God in its undiluted manner before the people. and you watch their spiritual life grow, yeah, it gives joy, especially if you know why you have come to be a priest.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. And I gather, I mean, I was preaching a couple of weeks ago, because we've been reading through the Gospel of John and the Eucharist, and I was saying in the United States, they did a survey, and on average Sunday, only 17% of Catholics go to Mass. Wow. In Nigeria, I believe it's 97.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's just a different
Usually
world.
in Nigeria, you don't find people who say, I go to church only around Easter or around Christmas.
That,
no, you don't find that. Yeah.
No, people are much more. Of course, it's I know in parts of Nigeria, there's enormous persecution from Islam. Yeah. Is that where you are, or different where you?
Okay, I come from the southeast.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those persecutions happen more in the north.
North.
And to some extent in the middle belt.
No, yeah.
Yeah, so we are not totally free from the persecutions because everyone is afraid anything could happen. Yeah. Especially bombing of churches. Yeah, but down east we are a bit safer. Yeah. Yeah, than those up north. They are more vulnerable, and things keep happening there. Bombing of churches, kidnapping of both priests and Christians, and demanding for ransom, and eventually killing them, and burning of rectories. Yeah. You know, yeah, those things are more rampant in the north, where we have predominantly the Islam.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Well, yeah, I remember speaking to one of your brethren, I forget who it was, because he noticed I wear a cassock, and he said in Nigeria the priests don't always wear cassocks because they become a target for assassination by Muslim assassins. Yeah, so
that is true.
But nonetheless, so let's talk a little bit about your coming here, and what brought you here, and what's been interesting and challenging about coming to America.
Okay, actually, back home, when priests are ordained, of course, generally we are ordained to serve the church and do our priestly duties, especially the pastoral work. But from time to time, needs keep arising, maybe for people who will teach in the seminaries or who will handle offices that need specific learning. So when such need arises in the diocese, the bishop, together with the courier, they make decisions on who will go and study a particular course in order to be able to fit in with where the needs are coming from. So I've been a priest and I've served for 11 years in my diocese. Then the priest called me one day, the bishop, called me one day and said, we have a need for you to go and study moral theology. Yeah, and usually when you are called, you consider it a privilege because no one ever knows who will be called. Yeah. Yeah, and it is not also our right. So when you are being chosen, you consider it a privilege, and also thank God for that. So that is how I began to prepare. And he said, you'll be going to the United States to study moral theology. I said, wow, well, at first I was kind of like moral theology in a place like America, you know, because I've always known that such things are better studied in Rome. Yeah, but coming over to America and coming to Boston College, I think it's a different story altogether. Mm. Yeah, because I studied moral theology, which we also sometimes call moral ethics. Yeah, and doing it here in America, I think I really thank my bishop and thank God also for the opportunity to be able to come, because Studying moral ethics here in America opens your eyes to a lot of things, especially to the marginalized, which moral theology in our modern era doesn't concentrate only on you as the individual and your moral growth. It also focuses on the other person, on your neighbor, you know. And I really appreciated the fact that I came to America and especially to Boston College to do a licentiate program in moral theology, because it has opened my eyes to be able to know that, yes, I have to defend the poor, the marginalized, and those who have no one to speak for them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. What will you likely do when you finish your academic work? Go back to Nigeria and teach? You think in
Yes.
the seminary or
Exactly.
college or things like that?
Yes. When after my studies, I will go back to Nigeria, and definitely it will be in the seminary. Yeah.
Now, you've also had a little taste of American church life as opposed to what have you noticed that's good and what do you notice that's not so good or what needs help?
Yes. I think first of all, when I came, I was a bit shocked by the number dwindling
Yeah.
by the day, going down. Few persons coming for the weekday masses, like 15 or 20, not more than that, you know. So
What's a Nigerian average mass, weekday mass?
in Nigeria, actually, the weekday masses usually we don't have anything less than 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, they usually come to the weekday masses in number.
Yeah.
And we have morning, we have evening.
Oh, you have more than one.
Yes,
Yeah.
in most places we have also the weekday masses,
Oh.
3 during the day.
Wow.
Yeah, and each of them are well attended.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think there are also many things I appreciate in the church in the United States, especially here in the Archdiocese of Boston. The people of God, the people you see, I think they are responsive. Yeah, yeah, they are responsive, especially where I am working now in Parish of Transfiguration in Wilmington.
Wilmington, yeah.
Yeah, as the parochial vicar. Yeah, I appreciate it when I see the people grow spiritually, when they grow in faith. Yeah, and I see this in the parishioners. Yeah, and they are happy coming to the church, and they are happy encountering the Lord at Mass. And every passing day, I see them also increasing in number. So I think from my own view, I think most people are coming back to the church. It may be a gradual process, but I think more people are coming back now than, yeah.
Well, as someone with your perspective is helpful, people like us, just to because sometimes you don't see as well from within it as someone who comes from outside. And so that's a word of encouragement and strengthening, and I do think I think Pope Benedict said this: the church may be getting smaller, but it's getting more faithful. In when I was young, everyone in America went to church. Now they weren't all Catholic, but their Protestant churches were full, Jewish synagogues were full, Catholic churches were very full, and now most people don't go to church. And in a way, to be a Christian is being very countercultural. Before, in the old days, everybody went, and we're not sure. Somebody said that Christianity was 3,000 miles wide and only an inch deep. But now I think the Christianity is deeper, even if it's smaller, because you don't go because everyone's going with the crowd. You're going because
you're convinced.
And so that makes a stronger church. And then as it gets strong, I think you're right. I think then the strength and the vitality of faith will start drawing people back.
Exactly. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. So I think that's a wonderful word of encouragement. Also, it's been interesting. I got to be very close. I haven't been to Nigeria, but I was very close friends with some Anglican priests from East Africa, from Kenya and Uganda.
Okay.
And I spent some time teaching in a seminary in Kenya and Uganda. I took a sabbatical and I went and spent 3 months in Kenya and another time in Uganda. And it was a great experience because similarly to the Catholic Church in Nigeria, African Christianity is very vital. And it's been a source of great. I know this was true in the Anglican Church, a source of great encouragement and strength, because we've had a lot of in the Anglican Church, as you know, there've been many battles and splits.
Battles, that's true.
And I was a great source of strengthening, encouragement, my African brothers and sisters, to encourage those of us here, and it was a great experience. So it's a wonderful, that's one of the wonderful things, even more so as a Catholic than even an Anglican, it's a universal church.
Yeah.
So I think one of the problems with much of American Protestantism, it's very American.
Yeah.
And it so sees Christianity just through American eyes, whereas this the internet, the church is not, Christianity is not American. Christianity is the universal,
yeah.
Catholic universal, and so all the riches of all the different tribes and nations and languages and races is what the fullness of the Christian church is. It's much richer, and so what as you go back, what are some of your hopes for the work of the Nigerian church as you eventually go? What do you think some of the challenges of that church are?
Yeah, of course, one of our major challenges is neo-paganism.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like snakes, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember when I was in East Africa, there's ATR, African Traditional
Religion,
Yeah.
which is still powerful till today.
Right.
Yeah, and many of our youths and even adults are going back to paganism.
Really?
Yeah, and some are also combining it with going to church at the same time. So I know that we need more catechesis,
Yeah.
but we also need more witnessing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have learned a lot from the church in America, and I'm still learning. But I know that, God willing, if I get back home, I will try to implement the things that I have learned here. First of all, defending the poor, the marginalized.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking for those who have no one to speak for them, and being an exemplar, because that is one major thing that we'll learn in moral theology here in the United States, especially in virtue ethics. Yeah, the virtues are beautiful, but being an exemplar is the key.
And the key, right?
Yeah, people have something to follow.
To follow, yeah.
Yeah. So, I know I have great responsibility when I get back home, but I believe that with the grace of God, we'll be able to make a difference.
Make a difference,
Yeah.
right. Yes, and it is, and I knew again from my time in East Africa, the challenges of African traditional religion is finding, particularly I think exploring, as we're trying to do at our healing shrine, some of the more dimensions of the Holy Spirit. Yeah. I think sometimes institutional Christianity gets too ritual and dogma and not enough Holy Spirit. Exactly. And the Spirit, finding the Spirit is a very important part of the weapon against the false spirits. And so thank you. This has been a wonderful conversation.
Thank you.
Again, blessings on your work, your study, and
Thank you.
And eventually your future work when you get back to Nigeria.
Thank you for that.
Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed this fascinating conversation and a little bit of a journey to Africa as we talked to Father Joseph and some of the really amazing things going on in Nigeria. We hope you've been blessed by this show, and may God continue to bless you.